Good evening. It's Thursday night, 9 p.m. Late one tonight because I've been working all day. But this is the 15th of 53 consecutive 5-mile walks from the Gresford Memorial to the Miners' Rescue and back again. Over the past couple of walks, our focus has been on the hellish conditions below ground and the scenes at the pit head in the immediate aftermath of the explosion at 2 a.m. on Saturday the 22nd of September. The initial blast occurred in the 29s district, an area of the mine where over 250 men were trapped and would never emerge from, below the fields around the Flash and the Pantarockin and extending east towards Boris Head. The miners were trapped by a large fire that blocked the entrance to the 29s. For the trapped miners, the fire was blocking the way home. For the 200 rescuers below ground, the fire would remain untamed, roaring in the face of the sand and stone dust thrown in vain by the rescuers. All those men and boys on either side of that fierce wall of fire in a pit of deadly gas. It's thought that the trapped miners would have been killed instantly, either by the explosion or by the effects of carbon monoxide. Instant death perhaps provides scant and meagre comfort, but we'll never know for sure. Compounding the rescue efforts, intense heat, rock falls, smoke too dense to pass through, and as will become more and more apparent in this project, inadequate rescue plans as not actioned by the mine owners and management. In the ensuing inquiry, an inspector of mines criticised the lack of basic rescue principles at the pit. He said, "There does not appear to have been any organisation of the rescue operations, nothing save chaos." For 24 hours after the explosion, there was no improvement in the situation underground. Huge falls still blocked the way, tremendous fires continued to burn, and when a catastrophic miscommunication led to the deaths of 3 rescuers, Dan Hughes, William Hughes, and Jack Lewis, hope of finding any survivors from the men who remained trapped was disappearing fast. The emphasis of the rescue mission started to become less about saving lives and more about subduing the fire and clearing the poison gas from the pit, so at least the bodies could be brought out. And then came further explosions in the vicinity, distant rumblings growing louder, the vibrations felt by all, knocking some off their feet, including pit management. As one rescue captain recounts, about 5:15 there was another noise, and I called for silence. It was a low rumble, like distant thunder. It increased in violence and then died down again. We all stood very uneasy for about 5 minutes. I could see the men were getting nervy, and who in God's name could blame them? Somebody said, "Hadn't we better withdraw?" But I said, "No, carry on. More sand, more sand." We carried on, and I never felt more proud of the men in my life. In about 10 minutes, there was another loud sound, and the whole place trembled. The risks were too high, the danger too great. There were already 200 rescuers down there, and 265 men already presumed dead. And so, in the early evening of Sunday the 23rd of September, the following statement was released to the press from the pit's management. The attempt to overcome the fire in the main road has gone on continuously since yesterday. But in spite of very strenuous efforts, and although some progress has been made in this road, the fire has got a further hold in a road to the right, through which it was hoped access might have been got to any possible survivors. Today, several explosions have occurred, and this afternoon they became more frequent and closer to where the men were working on the fire. The air in both main returns is carrying carbon monoxide in dangerous quantities, and it is with great reluctance that all parties, management, miners' representatives, and HM inspectors have come to the conclusion that no person can be alive in the working. In these circumstances, and in view of the grave risks to the men engaged in combating the fire, it has been decided that it would not be right to continue to expose these workers to such serious risk, and all persons have been withdrawn from the mine. And reflecting on this moment, historian Stanley Williamson stated, "With the publication of the official bulletin, there was a sudden change. The crowds melted away in the rain. The pit headgear, the fans, the blowers slowed down to silence. And in the words of an eyewitness, an eerie peace descended on Gresford Colliery." This walk was dedicated to Joseph Evans, Norman Evans, Ralph Evans, Leonard Fisher, and Irwin Fowkes.